Today we're going to be working on this 1968 Dodge D200 4x4 casting by Matchbox. I've got a few of these. I really love this body style. I like the 60s and 70s Dodge trucks a lot, especially the crew cab 4-door version. These 4x4s are kind of cool, but the grille is lacking some detail, and the chassis is so bulky. I went ahead and drilled the post, so I'm going to take this one apart, and I'm going to get rid of the 4x4 aspect and just make it a normal. It still could be 4-wheel drive possibly, but I want to lower it and put smaller wheels on it and distress the paint finish and paint the interior different color and anything else I could maybe think of. But let's go ahead and get started with that now. And I could do a couple of other things, who knows, the videos evolve sometimes as I go along from my original idea. Let's go ahead and get started. First thing I need to do is make a little room because I want to find a totally different chassis for this. And I have a tackle box, as you can see here. And this is how I keep some of my stuff organized for customs. I got a lot of extra chassis and things like that in here. And pretty big once you get this thing open. You can get these really cheap for like 15 bucks. So if you like to take your customizing on the go, say you go on vacation or camping or anywhere, you can take pretty much everything you need to do a custom with one of these. And it keeps all your stuff organized. It's not hard to find things once you have a little pocket for everything. I have all my chassis and then all my interiors and extra bodies. And still space for more stuff. I even have this smaller version that I have just for wheels mostly, and this one. I want to find a chassis that will fit this to make it a 2-wheel drive. I got all kinds of options to choose from. I'll go through these piles and see which ones fit best. Alright, I didn't find the chassis that would fit yet, but I found one with a much nicer looking grille. I may take the grille and bumper out of this one and put in here. So there's one piece. I found this chassis here that has some wheels on it. I kind of like these wheels. I'll see if I can maybe get this chassis to fit. And I got some other ones to choose from, but I found a grille and chassis. So all I really need to find now is be a back bumper. And I think I got enough to get started. Go ahead and put this away. Okay, I've been looking it over and I just don't see any benefit to keeping the original chassis or trying to convert it. And there's no space at all to put an axle. Well, there's space, but there's no structure to mount an axle anywhere, so I'm just not even going to consider that. I'm going to go ahead and go with this one we found. It rests good in the back, no problem. I need to make the mounting hole in the front a little bit bigger. So I'm going to drill that out and maybe push it back. I don't know. Well, I'll study on it for a second. Yeah, I'm going to just take this file and whittle this out with the file and make it a little bit bigger. Let's do that for a while until I get it the way I want it. Alright, after a bunch of sanding, I made the hole a little bit different. I think it fits in here pretty good. And it actually slides over the mounting post still. I may have to do the same thing in the back. Not sure. Now I'm thinking the back might need it. There it is. Now the back's probably fine. I think it's fine as long as I can get the interior to fit in here. And that front bumper, I'm sure I can. I can trim this off if I need to. Yeah, I think that's going to look pretty good. Let's see how the interior fits. Well, right now the interior is not going to fit at all until I get rid of these wheel supports from the original placement. I'll just snip those out and then file it down. I'll take a file and smooth that out if I need to. Do the same thing up here now. Alright, let's see how this fits. think if I just sand some of this out, maybe I won't have to cut a hole all the way through it, but who knows. I'm going to go ahead and take the Dremel tool and start removing this excess material that I don't need. Alright, I think I sanded down pretty much as far as I could go without coming through the other side. Might be able to go a little bit more, but I don't want to push it yet. Let's see. We're a lot closer. We're still hitting the wheels, I guess. Let's study on it. Alright, it looks like I am going to have to remove some of the wheel well. I'm thinking maybe if I could use this and go in a little bit on each side. If it gets down to it, I'm just going to cut these wheel wells out and replace them with something else, but I'm going to see if I can make them a little bit different with this first. Even after removing all this material, it's still not enough. I guess I'm just going to have to cut them out of the way. I should have just done that at the beginning, but I wasn't sure. And there was only one way to find out. You just don't know until you try. But it worked out in the end. So here we are. Everything fits nice. All I have to do now is put this thing together and make sure everything's working right. And then I'll fashion something out of plastic probably. Make some new type of wheel wells, and we'll make it look like it probably never happened. As you can see here, all the wheels are spinning freely. It looks like it's going to work out great. It rolls very well. I like it. I think the stance turned out perfect. Alright, I found this little plastic cap for a glue bottle that I have, and I cut it to fit in there with the Dremel tool, and it's going to work just fine. Here's what's left of it. I'll go ahead and glue these pieces in, and we'll just paint it out to match the rest of the bed. I'm just going to use this gel super glue. It works perfect on something like this. It'll stick right in there. There we go. Now I'm going to use the Dremel tool to chop off this front grille section and bumper. I'll have to cut it from the bottom first and then switch it over and cut it from the top. It'll take a few minutes, but I'll have the piece that I need, and it should give it a much better look. Here we have it. I think it's going to look great. Next, I'm going to take these wire trimmers and trim off some of the chassis so the new grille area will fit. I might have to take a file too and smooth it down after I get done so it looks nice. And now I'm going to have to trim a little bit off the bottom of the fenders on each side, and it should fit in there just fine after that. I'll also have to take a file and get the burrs off of that as well. Yeah, it fits in here perfect. And it still looks like a Dodge, maybe a different year or something. Now I just need to apply some of this gel super glue and put it into place. And here we have it, our permanent new grille. I'm going to put a black wash on it in a little while, and that will also make it look better. Well, it's definitely much better than the plastic one, as you can see here. I'm glad I found this. Okay, I did one final test fit after getting the bumper in there. I had to adjust the chassis a little bit around the post hole on the plastic chassis, but I got it back in there. It fits nice. Rolls good. I think we're ready to go ahead and distress it. I'm going to take a wire brush and go over the body and kind of dull the paint down some, and then I'll get started. And we could stop right here if this is all we wanted to do. I have this nice copper, I guess that's copper wire brush. It's not real coarse, so it leaves a nice smooth finish. Okay, I roughed up the body with that brush. I think it's good enough. And I'm going to go ahead and get started. We're going to start with the watered down Tuscan Red for our first wash. I'm going to do the top and the hood and probably the edges of the panels up here, door edges and stuff. Alright, just a little bit more in the back here. Sorry you could hear my dog walking around in the background, but she has full room of the house while I'm working. What can you do? Okay, here's a look at the chassis with the new custom wheel wells. And I mixed up this light brown color, kind of reminds me of leather. I'm going to go ahead and use that on the interior, as you can see here. And I'll mix up a lighter color like the body of the truck to paint the bed. I'll do that soon. This will take 3 or 4 coats for each one. A little bit of beige, a little bit of white, and I should come up with a color that's close enough to match the lower section of the truck. I really like how these little pieces I cut out worked. Wish I would have just did that at the beginning. I didn't want them to be so large, but that's the only way it was going to fit. It looks like it has some big drag slicks or something on it now, but I think it's all going to blend in once I distress it, and it shouldn't look too bad. Alright, the red wash is dry, and I applied more coats to the interior and bed. Here it is with 2 coats of the red wash. I think I'm done with the red wash. I'm going to go ahead and get the black out and go around the body panels and see how it looks after that. Alright, got to do the same thing to the passenger side. I think this really helps the panels look more realistic. There should be some kind of a gap. And we got this little bonus area on the back door where the red wash washed down the side. Now I want to use the same black wash to highlight some of the other features on the vehicle. These areas around the hood and windows and edges of the roof. Then I'll go over the edges of around the roof area here again with some rust color. This will make the rust color look darker in certain areas, especially around the edges. Alright, our black wash is dry. Now it's time to start adding some rust. And I'm going to continue that process by using a color called chestnut. It's watered down. I'm going to get an artist brush and start applying it next. We need a generous portion on the top and then a little bit less in the other areas. As you'll see as the process unfolds. This is the most time-consuming part of the process. You have to let each coat dry. Sometimes I'll take a fan and put on it, and that helps a lot. Or you can take your casting outside if it's a nice day and set it in the sun. But you have to be patient to get this look. Now the bed is dry enough to go ahead and continue the same process to the back of it, so it matches the rest of the vehicle. Now it's time to switch over to the last color, and that's burnt umber, which is watered down the same way. I'm going to apply it around all the edges that I want the darkest, or any other areas that I feel should be darker. got all the washes on I think I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and do the final step, and that's to put some overspray, some really fine mist from a paintbrush, a semi-dry brush. I'm going to apply a black wash to the bed of the truck to make it look dirty and weathered, and that should help it match the rest of the truck. I have these dry stencil stickers. This is the mainline Rio Grande sticker. I'm going to apply one of these on each door. We'll do that next. Here's how it's going to look. I just take a stylus and rub over it till it comes off. Alright, there's the passenger side one. Now I'm going to go ahead and apply the last layer of overspray dots. I want some of those to get on the decals so it look like it aged with the truck. Just take this semi-dry brush and I gently fan fine dots all over the body, as small as I can, and that helps the rust look more realistic. I usually do this in all three colors that we've been using. Alright, once I'm finished with this, I'll let it sit and dry for a little while. Usually don't take that long. And next I'm going to switch over to the black wash and get the grill done. Looks pretty good this way. Now it's time to do a little bit more detail work on the tailgate and around the Dodge symbol. I might paint these in with some kind of coloring, I'm not sure. They would probably look good white. I think it will look better with the painted in red tail lights, so I'm going to do that real quick. And now a little bit more detail work with burnt umber in the bed, and it's really starting to blend in now. And for whatever reason, I think the doors would look better having these top edges painted in with this burnt umber color. I don't know why the light color is just clashing. So I'm going to paint that in on both sides. Yes, I think it looks better like this. Now I think I want to add a little bit more detail to the interior, so I'm going to paint the center console and the area between the seats with this gloss gray. Even though you probably won't see it after I put it together, I still think it would look nice. Alright, the interior section is all done. We can put it in the vehicle soon. Here's the back bumper that I came up with. This came off of another Dodge truck from Hot Wheels. I think it's going to look good on the back of here. I'll just mount this on here with some gel super glue, and then I'll put a black wash on it, and we should have our back bumper assembly. I'm glad I took the extra time to go ahead and paint the gray area in the interior. It looks better. And you can see the plastic wheel wells that we added. I still didn't paint that out. I don't guess it was necessary. But if it stands out, I can always paint it later. I don't think you're even going to see it though. And now it's time to go ahead and super glue this back bumper into place and get this thing finished. Alright, apply more glue here. Line it up properly, hold it for a couple of seconds, make sure it's square, and we now have a back bumper. And now all that it needs is a black wash, and I think this part will be finished. Here it is dry. I think it turned out just right. We could always add some more rust to it, but I'm going to leave it like this for now. Well, I really like how this one turned out. I've been wanting to do this ever since I acquired the casting probably 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. It's nice to finally get the time to do with it what I wanted to. And it turned out just how I imagined. It looks so much better without the big 4x4 wheels and bulky chassis. It was kind of nice to get the experience on how to cover up these wheel wells in case I have to do it again on a future build. And the dry rub decals on the door turned out nice too. I'm going to see if I can find some more of those on eBay. They're very easy to apply. And using that type also gives me less of a chance of messing up my paint finish. If I use the water type stencils, it could activate the paint. Unless you spray over the finish with a clear lacquer, which I sometimes do, but I didn't get a chance to do it on this build. Even though they were for model railroading, this Rio Grande mainline decal worked out great. It looks like a company vehicle from a fleet of vehicles or something. And the vehicle really stands out sitting in the Junkyard diorama. Anywhere that I put it, it's very photogenic. I'm glad I took the time to make this one. Here it is sitting on the scales, being admired by some of the guys who work at the yard. Wondering, why is this thing here? It looks fantastic from the back with that heavy-duty bumper. That came off of a Dodge Macho truck. Too bad I don't have some side mirrors to add to it. That would be a nice look as well. And I guess this sums up our build. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And if you feel like supporting the channel, don't forget to check out my eBay store. Thanks very much and have a great day.
Well, hello everybody. That was a fun ride, wasn't it?